Welcome back to Teach English Now. You may have noticed that this module is a little longer than some of our other modules. But don't worry, that won't always be the case. Stay with us in this summary video so you can understand the big picture of what we are trying to get you to know as language instructors.
First of all, we use the extended analogy of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz to introduce you to 3 different readers. Each reader has a unique set of problems that are worth considering.
The first reader, the Scarecrow, gave us insights into the learner who is unable to read. In general, this learner may be engaged, diligent, and willing to learn, but simply doesn't have the information necessary to be a successful reader. In other words, you as a teacher need to fight a lack of knowledge with information.
However, we showed that there are different kinds of knowledge that students may not possess. First, students may lack the necessary decoding skills needed to recognize words and word sounds. Thus, you may need to teach a student to connect different sounds with letters or groups of letters. Second, you may need to teach vocabulary and some parts of speech, as some learners may not possess enough knowledge to recognize simple sight words. Third, you may have to teach rules of different kinds of discourse, such as essay writing, newspaper articles, menus, and other styles of writing that all have their own set of logic. Fourth, you may also need to teach world knowledge and help students build their schemata so that they can understand difficult texts. Finally, you may encounter students who simply don't employ good reading strategies, and you may wish to teach some useful reading strategies to these students. We'll discuss those in more detail in our second module.
Now on to our second reader, the Tin Man. Our Tin Man had a problem understanding that reading can be done in an interactive and involved way. He thought of reading as a solitary, isolated activity. This reader often needs to recognize that reading is an involved, active process, and that there are many things the reader can do to expand their ideas about the text. First, we suggested that to involve a Tin Man, a teacher can think about dividing activities into 3 parts: pre-reading, reading, and post-reading. Pre-reading activities can include "Have you ever" questions, providing background information about the theme or author, vocabulary, personal stories, and even pictures that help support the reader. Reading activities can include inviting readers to look for certain key facts, or inviting them to highlight, take notes, or even stop reading to share ideas with a class member or the class. To really involve students, you might want to invite students to a read aloud or reading circle, and use teacher techniques that help students break down the information as you read. After finishing a reading, students are invited to evaluate, give opinions, and demonstrate their understanding of the material. You might invite students to summarize, create, compare, and more in order to get students to critically respond to the text.
Our final reader, the Lion, was presented as a self-absorbed, anti-reading personality. He just didn't have time to read. He didn't think reading mattered. Dorothy, our master teacher, was able to confront his unengaged attitude by finding ways to intrigue him, to pique his curiosity, and to make him want to read. She motivated him through the art of immediacy, making his interests and his world the focal point of his own story. She used the principle of autonomy, which shows that many readers are intrigued when they're able to choose topics themselves and to explore themes they already have an interest in. Finally, she used future authenticity, which is a fancy way of saying that she sold the Lion on the idea of a future event, and then gave a reading that might help the Lion enjoy that future event even more. She gave the Lion a glimpse into his own future, and then helped him to prepare for it.
We have to applaud Dorothy for the way she was able to meet all the needs of all her students. So, did she and her 3 learners make it to the Emerald City? Well, that is a chapter that we invite you to write and finish. Because to be honest, it's time for us to move beyond the rainbow and move on to your own adventure. After this video, we are inviting you to do two things. Choose a reading you think will interest your learners. Share why you think this reading would be appropriate for your learners. While you won't create a lesson plan yet, have in mind that whatever reading you choose will be used later on. Finally, we invite you to take the quiz. It isn't meant to be difficult, but it is meant to ensure that you have been paying attention to the basic ideas found in this module. We hope you enjoy both of these tasks, and we'll see you in our next module, where we will meet two very unusual characters, a tortoise and a hare.